Good evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 14. Once you've got qualifying, then the main 1 hour race. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Sim Racing Alliance. And this is where it all counts. As all eyes go to the light, and we are racing.
He brakes late, almost takes out the car ahead of him.
He's getting a tow, a flash.
Argy right on the exit, rear end squiggle. Who's going to get the move done here around the outside?
Oh, dang!
Byron ran it so shallow there, and this has become a 4-car battle. Game of inches as the BMW is in the paint.
and we're off and away for SRA.
Good evening, SRA Nation, and welcome to Season 15. It is Division 1. It's round number 1. We are back for the summer. I'm Alexa Marshall, joined by Ilpo Rutsalainen, and we have got Philip Ennis-Muller, who will be bringing you all the camera shots tonight. And gentlemen, we've got a season ahead of us. We start here at Paul Ricard, and it's the parking lot. A lot of tarmac. But you can only imagine how much racing action we are going to get around here. Ilpo, of course, you're also racing this season as well as Philip, but we'll go to you first. What do you think we can expect here at the circuit, Paul Ricard?
We can expect a lot of high-speed action. As we all know, this is a very high-speed track with a very long straight, so top speed is key. And potentially some strategy games, because if you don't have that top speed, you might have to try to be clever instead of just being fast.
Yeah, most definitely. And Philip, welcome back to the commentary box after a season off. How are you doing, good sir? And welcome in. What are you expecting?
Thank you. Good to be back. I got that big promotion to the D1 booth. As Alexa said, I am running the cameras, the commentary, the microphones. So in the chat, give me a quick shout out if everything is sounding good. And if anything is sounding bad, please direct all your complaints to Miss Alexa Marshall. Thank you, and let's go. So... Season 15, going to be a great one. We've got an exciting opener. I'm going to click straight into some standing pages. We've got 45 drivers signed up for this 15th season here in Division 1. Some familiar faces, some new names getting promoted up from D2. But the big storyline and what I wanted to spend perhaps a little bit of this pre-race talking about, the Ford Mustang, the dominant car from last season with 17 drivers on the grid representing it, received a major engine restrictor balance of performance adjustment in the off-season, down on top speed where it used to be untouchable. Now it's in line with all of the other cars. You see on your screen there, team number 13, the restrictor victors, Dan Cran and Gomer Wilson, are the only two drivers on the grid rocking this car. And I don't know about you, Ilpo, but from the limited testing, limited driving, the observing that I've done, I think that's crazy. I think this is still a top car in the game.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. It's still very viable. Looking at the statistics, I'm not surprised the Lexus is extremely popular because it's probably now the best option if you want that straight line speed. I am a little bit surprised that there are so many McLarens, especially since I don't think it's that favorable compared to the Mustang now, but maybe all the front engine drivers have swapped to the Lexus.
Give it all you can.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the way to go. Philip, you've got a little bit more to say. We'll let you go through this before we go to the track map.
Well, no, so obviously the Lexus, as Ilpo mentioned, is the new big car on the grid. 10 drivers on the grid this season representing the Lexus. 8 McLarens is the second most popular. You've got some odd choices here and there that you're seeing on screen. We've got an Audi team. We've got a Mercedes team. Jack Krause being the latest victim in the long string of Jacob Palmieri teammates forced to drive that Mercedes around. But yeah, I'm really curious how these cars are going to stack up, especially, like Ilpo said, this long straight. It seems like it's going to be a Lexus playground.
Yeah, well, let's go over to the track. The back straight here at the circuit, Paul Ricard. It's one of those tracks which some you love it, some you hate it. Of course, it is that long back straight. No chicane like Formula 1. It's all the way down. You start down into turn number 1 and turn number 2. Basically, an elongated chicane. A nice run in. You can stick it down the inside at turn number 1, but you'll have to be on the outside for turn number 2. The 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 complex can be a little bit tricky. It is possible to go side by side, but you need to get a good exit on 6, and 7 in these GT3s realistically is a kink. Onto the back straight, that's where the Lexus will be superior. The top line, the straight line speed, all the way down into turn number 8, the quick right-hander into the elongated turn number 9, and then you enter the squiggly bits, which looks a little bit like a mustache. Turn number 10, 11, 12 and 13. 13 going to be the big opportunity to go down the inside and get a opportunity onto the main straight, which takes you back down to turn number 1. So 2 very big straights here, the main straight and the back straight. Another little straight between turn number 2 and turn number 3. But then the rest of the track can be quite technical. It is 5.77 kilometers. That converts to 3.586 miles. It is located just west of Monaco in the La Castelle, France. It's in the valley, and it is Paul Ricard. 13 corners, and it is going to be very, very interesting. No grass for you to deal with, just a whole lot of runoff. It's going to be a very interesting race here, Ulpo.
Definitely, this tends to be one of the better tracks for side-by-side action. It's very hard to pull away from someone because of the long straight. All the tow you get from a car in front, make sure you stay there and you can keep fighting.
Yeah, and so I don't know about you guys in your practice, but me personally, I have been struggling with keeping laps valid with track limits on some of these tricky, especially, you know, the exit of turn 2, the exit of turn 5. Are we expecting to see perhaps some drive-throughs this evening, or is this, I got promoted to Division 1 and these guys are all professionals, they're going to keep it inside the white lines?
Well, realistically, when you look at it and you look at the format, it's a 20-minute qualifying split between the drivers. Of course, that becomes a lot more interesting later on. But it's a 20-minute qualifying followed by a 1-hour race. This is round 1, so it's where it counts. But you were talking about track limits. Turn number 8 is a key factor for this, and it's very clear on the cameras as well. It may be different at certain corners, but turn number 8 especially, there is little bollards on the exit. So as long as you keep it within those bollards, you are within track limits. Otherwise, it's usually the exit of the curb or the painted white line. It does vary a bit around the circuit, which can make it quite tricky to stick within it. But the big one tonight, what we're going to see is probably, like I said, turn number 8, trying to keep it within those bollards. However, turn number 9, I'll ask you what this one, Philip, is. Of course, you've probably practiced this one quite a bit. Turn number 9, the car can get pretty heavy to control through there and possibly run wide off the road.
And so that's a fair point. And actually, one of the themes of this track is the high diversity of the turns that you need to be able to set your car up for. Obviously, at the end of the straight, you've got the very fast right-hander turn number 8 that you have to set your car up to be stable enough to not immediately snap sideways and murder you, compared to, like you said, so that double apex turn 9, getting it turned back down into that apex can be tricky. Your front tires are really going to protest a lot, and yeah, I agree that the exit of that turn could be an issue for some of these drivers.
And Ilpo, what about you? Because of course you've probably also been practicing around here, but of course we've had Philip with turn number 9. What do you think about the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 complex?
I don't find it that difficult for the most part. For me, usually the place where I'm throwing time away is the 1-2 complex, because it's really hard to make the correct compromise between carrying speed through turn 1 but also getting a good exit from turn 2. So I think that's, for me, probably the hardest part of the track.
Yeah, most definitely. But of course, we do have variation across the season, and I don't know if we will be going, hopefully we'll be going trackside soon, but if we do have an opportunity, we'll have a look at the calendar, because it is an interesting calendar this season. And personally, I don't know what it's like for you and Ilpo, Philip, but personally for me, this is one of my favourite calendars on this season. Of course, we're starting here at the circuit, Paul Ricard, as we do now head trackside, but we've also got Nürburgring, Barcelona, Donington, Hungaroring, Laguna Seca, Kyalami and Monza still to come our way. But of course, qualifying is now underway, and we now head trackside at this infamous circuit, watching Douglas Mitchell head around this track. And of course, you are the man with the facts, Philip. Tell us and walk us through these classifications and what the different number plates mean.
So, first out on track, starting at 20 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the session, are our silver drivers. They'll get 10 minutes to set a lap. Douglas Mitchell here leading the way is a recent promotion from Division 2. He had a ton of success last season. They determined that, hey, you're way too fast. You need to be up with the big boys in D1. Rocking the same car, the Lexus, that he has been representing for the past couple seasons. I'm excited to see how he mixes it up with these guys with him. Another big promotion, our overall Division 2 champion from last season, Mr. Arct, rocking his same good old faithful BMW. Maybe not the track for it, but on the aggregate, over a whole season, I have high hopes for this guy.
Yeah, most definitely. And Ilpo, what about you? Of course, I got put in the D2 box towards the end of last season. Arct was on an absolute charge there, and it's no surprise that he's been promoted. But is there anybody else on this grid that you're going to be looking at here, Ilpo?
Out of the silvers, I wouldn't. There's a lot of people I wouldn't discount. I wouldn't discount Gunman Person. He's very fast. Arjun can be a contender on a good day. Even, I would say, there's probably more people there. I think I'm not really even gonna try to say who to look out for yet. We'll see after a couple of rounds how it shakes out. I think this is extremely competitive Division 1 silver grid.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the way it does go, and it's way the cookie crumbles as Douglas Mitchell currently making his way through the circuit. Poor Ricard. He is going to be the first driver out there. He has clean air all the way through this complex, out of turn number 6, line it up for turn number 7, run it wide, cut it in, then hit the apex and onto the back straight. We were talking about the Lexus. It's straight line speed, as that is a car off and down. They went off at turn number 8. So it is going to be an interesting one. Already got some people in chat saying Arjun in the Porsche. We'll have to wait and see how he will fare with it. Down the back straight, as much speed as possible in that Gulf livery, which if you were watching the reveal stream, you know that this man was asking for it and he has got his wish. But can he put it to the top? Down into turn number 8 and then through towards turn number 9. Nice and wide, right up against the bollards. And it may just about be in. Of course, it now comes down to this, through the right-hander and onto this upside down mustache, as I called it, section. The complex of turn number 10, 11, 12 and 13. The hairpin can make or break a lap. Turn number 8, turn number 5 and turn number 13 are the key points where you can lose so much time as you head now through turn number 12. Here in round number 1 of season 15, it is Douglas Mitchell who will be the first driver to get a lap time on the board here. Gonna go to the line here in his trusty Lexus in round 1, 1 minute 53, 890. Burke a little bit further behind, 0.567 off the top time. Plenty of drivers still to come along. And Philip, you've got the timing board, so tell us what it's looking like.
So, Mr. Moffitt, the Ferrari faithful, up to the top. For the meantime, I wanted to give a little perspective. So, on the practice leaderboard, Michael Menning, top time of all drivers overall with a 1:52.055 in that same Lexus we're watching here. Of the silver drivers, we've got Mr. Jorintis Butkus with a 1:52.7. That's perhaps more in line with what I would be expecting from this first session. So these first laps, guys just getting their tires up to temperatures, shaking out the nerves, and we should see these times rapidly plummeting.
Also note that the track is currently still fast, not optimum. So the lap, I think the times will come down.
That is an interesting point. So we're not starting optimum. Do we know how long generally it's going to take? Will our silver drivers even see an optimum track?
I think they might just about get one lap on optimum track at the near the end, but it's very hard to predict.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way it usually looked across last season as well. Of course, every circuit is different. But Paul Ricard, it usually does take a while for this specific track to get up to optimum temperature. That is, of course, going to give the Golds an opportunity in their part of running qualifying to get those times in. We've seen it happen quite a lot as Guy Manperson is up top now, 1:53. 562 for the 599 in that very royal looking livery of the purple and gold. It is absolutely lovely.
Stunning.
And of course, if anybody has any favourite liveries, feel free to let us know in the chat. But of course, we were all watching the reveal stream. But let's have a look at these silver drivers here real quick. Whose livery here in D1 do we think is looking the best?
Well, let's go through the line as Mr. Eurontus Buttkiss crosses the line with a huge improvement, 153.172, rocking that Leighton House. I love the teal green on this Porsche, classic color with that offsetting orange. Roy Key pumping it into a quick P2. I'm pretty sure that's a standard ACC livery.
Yep,
so
that is the default Lexus if I've ever seen a default Lexus.
But this Madhouse Racing McLaren, I don't know if this is a real-life inspired livery, as is the theme of this season, but either way, a beautiful-looking car coming out onto this long straight for his third flying lap.
Yeah, I mean, it does become an interesting one. Elpo, let's get your input. We're onto the back straight now. Is there any cars that you've spotted which may catch your eye? As personally, I am liking Eric Marecki's, and I don't know if this is just me, but I am getting some Senna vibes.
I mean, everybody's put so much effort into this. I can't say which one would be especially my favorite right now. All of the custom ones are quite amazingly good. This is probably one of the best seasons when it comes to liveries that I've seen.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing when it comes down to it as well. It's based off real-life liveries, so you're going to see a lot of interesting ones. Key factor, we've said, we were talking about the Lexus. We've got 2 Lexus in the silver category. In fact, is there 3? There may be. I am maybe reading this wrong. Yes, there is 3, but right now, it is a Porsche which is at the top, which usually you don't see a Porsche up top, considering that it's more so known for its corners and its straight line speed. However, Roy Key may look to dethrone that into turn number 12 now, and then into turn number 13. The 888 is going to look to get a time in here around the final corner. The pedal goes to the metal, it goes to the floor with 2 minutes 15 left on the clock for them. Only P number 2, but by a quarter of a tenth. You can see the gold drivers lining up already. They got another 2 minutes yet, Philip.
A heartbreaker, just didn't get the same drive out of that last corner. He was well up on his delta. He'll get a couple more stabs at it, but Roy Key almost pipping Eurontus Buttkiss right there. Another driver up for a decent improvement. We've got Max Simmons, who appears to be, is that the teammate of Colin Dunham? Either way, he's currently sitting P5, 3/10 down, looking to make an improvement here on this 4th flying lap of his. The Madhouse Racing team always producing a just huge swath of liveries. The livery reveal stream is it's just here's the Madhouse block, and we have a dozen liveries, and they're all just fire every season.
Yeah, most definitely. Ooh, as also, we'll go to you in a minute, Elpo. I do just wonder if these lovely roaring cars can be heard just about right on the stream. We'll have a double check in the production truck. But Elpo, whilst we do double check that to ensure that the stream can hear the lovely sounding engines out here, what does it look like in your perspective, and what are you looking forward to?
So, I have some interesting statistics here. I was checking the trap speeds at the end of the straight, and unsurprisingly, the highest top speed is a Lexus, that's Roy Key, at 288 kph. But you might be surprised that Buttkiss has managed to do 286 in the Porsche.
Whoa.
Which is full 3 kph faster than Arjun has managed. So I'm almost tempted to guess that he might have had some toe on that lap. I don't know, but that seems quite possible.
Yeah, well, it may definitely be possible because Roy Key, he was a quarter of a tenth down. He's now up top, 1 minute 52.920, and the timer in 3, 2, 1 It is green flag in the pit lane, checkered for the silvers. The gold drivers are set free onto the circuit. We're watching Butkus here, and it now becomes an interesting one. Of course, if you did not cross the line by now, the silver drivers will have to return to the pit lane. They'll have to pull over an RTG as their qualifying session is now done. Of course, the gold drivers out there on the circuit, as you see plenty of drivers coming in. But only one Lexus up top, Porsche P2 at the moment, then it is 2 Maccas. 2 McLarens, which makes it quite interesting. Butkus still on a lap, as well as Simmons. John Moffat out there as well as Wilson and Fire Queso. Butkus pulls over to the side of the road as Simmons is making his way through now. It's an interesting aspect here when it comes down to it, because how are the times going to differ between the silvers and the golds? Because we usually do see a bit more, but of course we're in the early stages, Philip. So maybe, just maybe, some drivers may have been put in the wrong classification, even though it is overall points for position.
I mean, I hate to be a naysayer, but just based off of these silver times we're seeing, based off of the track conditions, I've got a sneaking suspicion that our gold drivers out on track now, as Max Simmons, who was the last silver driver on track, aborts his final lap. Our gold drivers now will get the opportunity. I think they are going to crush these poor silvers with the advantageous track condition.
Yeah, I mean,
it did go optimum on at least the last lap of the silvers was optimum track. I'm not sure if it was 2 laps, but at least 1 lap.
Yeah, so that is the truth. They do get more time on an optimum track surface. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that happens with the weather. We got 2 drivers coming onto the main straight now. We are watching Jacob Palmieri as hopefully we can go on board to see what this driver is going to be able to do around this circuit in the Mercedes AMG GT3, and it now down into turn number 1. Onto the brakes just after 100 meters, going to hold the line as much as possible, make it clean through turn number 1 and 2. Over the curve, you see the bollards on the left. That's where your track limits are. And then the run down the little kink into turn number 3, and then into the squiggly section. 3-4 chicane can be a tight complex, and then quickly into turn number 6. Then into turn number 5. If you look at the barrier on the left-hand side, you can probably still hear the tears of the championship hopes back in 2022 of a Ferrari, but it's a Mercedes out here tonight. Through turn number 7, and then onto the back straight. The little bollards, you see them everywhere. That is your track limits, as we are not sponsored by Netflix, but that is a Netflix livery on the Merc of Jacob Palmieri. He's making his way through. You see so many drivers currently coming down the back circuit. We'll be having a word from our sponsors later on in this stream. Heading down into turn number 8. Through the long right-hander, then quickly into turn number 9. Keep it within the bollards. Little kink correction there for the 4-3-4. Through the long elongated right-hander through turn number 9. You see the car drifting out, and then back into the circuit. Right on the exit, throw it into the right to get in line through turn number 10. Through turn number 11, under and through. Try not to hit the bollards, as you will get invalidated. There is a car in front, but into these final few complexes. Now through turn number 12, holding the line as tightly as possible, but not so tight that you end up losing your time. Onto the brakes, hit the apex, use the outside as much as you can, and then onto the main straight, out of turn number 13. Where will Jacob Palmieri go? He's going to set the time here. He will go to the top. 1 minute 52.912, but that is only by 8 thousandths of a second, Ilpo.
Yeah, but I mean, that's still a very good banker lap.
Yeah,
he's probably going to start pushing harder on the next lap when the tires are fully warmed up. This is actually surprisingly difficult to get the tires fully warmed up on this track because of the long straight.
In the meantime, we've got Andrew Rados here, who was, from last season, our runner-up, was down to the wire with Jeff Spangler for that overall win. He switched cars this season, one of many Mustang drivers switching to the Lexus. Same thing, that early banker lap, just getting the tires warmed up already with a 153.037. That Cheetos livery looking good and looking fast on track.
Yeah, most definitely, and it's one of those things that can be a bit more tricky. And of course, we would like to say this while we have time here in qualifying, Philip and Ilpo. For the first time ever, D1 is live not only on Twitch in its resident home, but also live on YouTube at exactly the same time. So you can choose your pick wherever you like. The action comes to you simultaneously. If you are on Twitch, you get 1 free subscription with Prime. That will ensure that you get no adverts. Of course, if you do not like it and you would rather have adverts, you can of course unsubscribe at a later time. But on YouTube, 1 subscription is free, and you can stick with us with no adverts at all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications to get notified every single time Simplay goes live for you. And of course, it's myself, Philip, and Ilpo in this box. But while we were talking about that, Diego Donate's gone to the top.
152.785 for his first flying lap, and he's already well up on his delta during his second. Couple of tenths up as he comes out onto this long main straight, looking to make a quick improvement and make a statement on this grid. Jacob Palmieri already knocked down to 4th place. We've got Jeremy Mercer in that beautiful red Ferrari. Ray-Ban Santander sponsorship. This car, surprisingly, every other track in the game, the Ferrari drivers whine about their top speed. I should know, I'm one of them. But this is actually the 488, and it's doing actually quite well on this track.
Yeah, as Omar Escorcia has now gone to the top in the Lexus, 1:52.697. So those times are ticking down even faster than you can count. But of course, the qualifying timer is ticking down as well. It is 3 minutes, 18 seconds left on the clock. If you're coming across the line or you're on a lap, you are only going to have this lap and then you're next to get in. If you are lucky, as of course, we're seeing just under 2-minute lap times here, Ilpo.
Yes. I'm looking at the times, and there are some drivers with no time. It is crunch time, pardon the pun, for those people, because you definitely do not want to be starting from the back when you're a gold driver.
Yeah, you do not want to chill, although you may not want to watch Netflix either, because you want to watch the live race in action. Down into the braking zone, little squiggle there for the Mercedes driver of Jacob. But it's now Diego Donate who once again has gone to the top. 1:52.620. So they are just flip-flopping.
Oh, but
It's
watch
Omar
out.
Escorcio and Diego Donate. Here comes Jacob Palmieri. Gonna go to the line. Only P2, but less than a tenth. Almost only a quarter, but it is interesting for him, and it is making it even more tricky. As I'm not going to say what that livery is, because I would rather not get cancelled on Twitter. But that is an absolutely lovely looking livery, and who knows, maybe it's camo because it seemed to fit in with the tree there.
So Palmieri and you see here Kevin Blanchette are basically leading the way for this D1 gold field, leading the way on the timing sheets as well. As soon as Kevin Blanchette sets an improvement, so does Palmieri. They're separated by only 0.04 of a second so far on track. A couple of laps left. This is going to be a dogfight for pole position.
Yeah, well, too close for missiles, switch to guns. Or if you're a fan of old movies, get a camera and maybe make it so your car has to return to the pit lane. But now, down into turn number 8, through the right-hander, I am surprised there was no car liveries out here, to be honest. It's very close to the track limits there. Although I say car liveries, they are car liveries because they're on cars. But, key thing to point out here, Blanchette, Palmieri, Donate and Michael Menning, all within 1/10. You were talking about a dogfight. It may become a 4-way fight. Here comes Diego Donate. He goes to the line. Looks like no improvement for him. Michael Menning in the Macca. He's going to be on an interesting one here in that very luminescent livery. Honestly, it would be hard to miss that. Honestly, though, I don't know if this is just me, but that makes the McLaren look a bit like a KTM.
Yeah, it does.
And of note, this is Michael Menning in the 720 non-Evo version of this McLaren. The older version, I guess he's got a self-imposed handicap. He's too good for this grid normally, so he said, I want to kick it old school for a second.
I mean, how can you not love the old school cars? Everybody loves a bit of old school cars. But what is not old school and is going to be brand new is the first checkered flag of season number 15, and that is Jacob Palmieri, who has pulled over to the side. He sits P2 currently, but in 3, 2, 1. The checkered flag drops here in qualifying for the first time here in season number 15. Michael Menning is on a charge. Kevin Blanchett is onto the back straight, and it is also Diego Dinarte. He's on a lap as well, so it comes down to those 3 drivers unless somebody can cause a major upset. Highest silver driver from their qualifying lap times is going to be Roy Key. He's there at the moment, but right now we go over to Wilson Fernandez, the 880. He's going to be the next one to the line. We'll see what he will do here around the final corner. Going to go to the timing line, to the checkered flag here at Paul Ricard. A good improvement for him, up in the P number 20, a few more positions. Michael Menninger bolts into the pit lane, and now the question is, where is everybody else going to be on the circuit? We've got Donny Els, who's going to be coming to the line now. He was P number 10. He goes to pole position, 1 minute 52.5 flat, and that is where he will sit. What about Kevin Blanchett? Diego Dinarte has not got a good lap time in. Klaus goes to the line, only P number 18. But where are they? Kevin Blanchett, round the final corner now, going to be going on to the main straight. It's a Macca up top at the moment, needed less than a 10th. Kevin Blanchett, can he dethrone? No, he cannot. It is not there for him. Andrew Rados making his way to the line. Anton Rushevic as well. He's P number 9, Mercer to P number 11, and I believe unless we see Jordan Nixon and the driver behind, which is going to be Dominic Durance, unless they get an improvement on, it is done, set, and match. It is to the line. Nixon gets no improvement. Durance gets no improvement. Ladies and gentlemen, that is qualifying set, and with a shock out of nowhere, it is Donny Els who will be on pole, 1 minute 52.5. That's how it's done. Ladies and gentlemen,
So, showing on your screen, we've got our community sponsors, supporters, and title sponsors. A big thank you to all of our wonderful community members supporting via Discord and Patreon. Feel free to add your name to this list anytime and add to things like server costs and the like. On now to Jay Queasy for our sponsor read.
A huge thank you to our SRA sponsors and title sponsors for supporting us here at SRA, as well as support from Documise, a modern business solution for product management. Go to documise.com to learn more today. And support from Retro Saga, a North American based gaming company that provides accessories for your favourite classic systems, including Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, and much more. Enhance your retro gaming experience today at retrosaga.ca. And a big thank you to our affiliates, Track Racer. Experience redefined gaming with Track Racer's high quality sim rigs and accessories. Use code SRATE at checkout to support us. Armamentario, a toolbox for ACC that will enhance your chance to win. Enjoy a fully customizable and enhanced HUD to change the way you experience ACC. AT 3D Sim Shop. Upgrade your sim racing experience today with premium 3D printed accessories featuring precision crafted magnetic shifters, sleek cable management solutions, versatile stream deck mounts, and immersive dashboard displays. Their innovative designs enhance performance and style, elevate every lap with top tier quality and craftsmanship at at3d.net. Go Setups, premium esports setups for everybody. Use our affiliate link on our Discord and take your drive to the next level. Castle and Cauldron, a home-based crafting business specialising in handmade Harry Potter, Fantastic Beasts and Fairy World collectibles. Magic wands, potions, mini dioramas, wall decor, costumery, cosplay and much more. Castle and Cauldron is where crafting meets the magical. Visit facebook.com/Castle Cauldron. And from KP Concepts, your source for custom automotive renderings, graphic design, and printing. We spend countless hours making you look all good for the spectacle. Check out kpconcepts.com for more.
That is right. And speaking of countless hours, we got the opportunity to take another look at these beautiful liveries. Well, this one's a bit basic, but Kevin Blanchett with that beautiful green grass Lexus, Jacob Palmieri, a little bit of Netflix and chill, Tiago Dinarte in the Bentley. I'm actually digging the diversity of car in the top 10 here. We've got a McLaren, an old McLaren, a couple of Lexuses, the Ford Mustang of Gomer Wilson. We didn't get a whole lot of shots of him during qualifying, but with that real life unicorn inspired livery on that Ford Mustang, sitting P8 right now, looking for good things out of him in this race. Anton Rushovich, another one of our Lexus converts. Jeff Spangler. I mean, tell me, Ilpo, I never thought that I would see this man in anything but a McLaren. Are you as shocked as I am right now?
Oh yeah, but he's not the only one that's kind of shocking here. Seeing Peter O'Brien in the front engine car is also very shocking.
And the Nissan of all things. I think this is our one lone Nissan team on the grid?
Yes, that would be correct.
Sitting P26, another car that's typically pretty good on top end, hoping to make some leaps and bounds up the grid. Amos Movo, as far as livery is concerned, I believe this is a Williams Formula One inspired livery on this Ferrari 296. Looking good, sitting back here in P41. I believe, Ilpo, you mentioned earlier when we were talking about the Aston Martin, the early lap 1 mega undercut. Is this kind of you basically called it necessary for some of these cars?
Situation, but there are no Astons on this grid, which doesn't necessarily surprise me very much. But if there were,
still sad.
Yeah, you would probably be pitting you would pit very early, because you're simply going to get over. Even if your average lap times are good, you're still gonna get overtaken on lap 1 because there's only half a lap to pull a gap, which is not enough. So. And then you're going to be potentially stuck behind someone who is significantly slower. So this would be one of the places where you would consider strategies like that.
Yeah, similarly, the chatter in the D1 channel of the Discord, kind of in the same boat as what you're describing, the Aston. This Audi, we've got Austin Carpenter and Mr. Timothy Flamger rocking the Audi this season. Another car very down on top speed. Maybe another candidate for that early undercut?
Yeah, you would generally consider it in any car that severely lacks top speed. Obviously, you would consider the situation. For example, if you don't have anyone behind you because there's an incident behind you, then no worries.
Yeah. But as we come now out of the final corner onto the start-finish straight, Alexa, take it away.
Action lap comes to an end. All the drivers will go double file. It is the circuit pour Ricard. Round number 1 of number 8. 14 seasons down. A new one begins here in the summer. For the first time ever in season 15, all eyes go to the light and green flag drops. We are racing. That's going to be a very, very good start for the Lexus. And it's going to be an even better one for the Bentley. Already down into turn number 1, right up against each other. Wheel to wheel, side by side. Bollards go flying. Michael Menning hitting the back. Lexus off track. And it is already, that's Blanchy, has to take evasive action. And it's all over the place for these drivers. Goebel Wilson losing out positions. Kevin Bianchette going to be making his way through. Michael Menning down. Yellow flags in the back. That is Colin Dunham. He is down and round. What has happened there between him? Wheel to wheel, side by side. That is one of Arjun's team's car. McLaren, and it is going to be a Ferrari and a Williams livery. As you said, Philip, their wheel to wheel, side by side, go for a square through turn number 6. back straight. This is where it counts. Who will hold on to this one? It is Dornells who currently leads in the 300. Nice and simple livery. But as you look over the rear window, the pit window opens. They are hunting, and it's Jacob Palmieri who is right there with them. But you've also got Diego Donate to be careful of. It's a long back straight, but now into turn number 8. Very wide on the exit, up and under for Donate. Very, very wide there for Jacob. And it is going to cost him. Blanchy also there for him. Looks like Menning is going to slice his way through. Omar Escorcia being the one to lose out there. That McLaren, even though it's older, is giving up. And it's putting in one heck of a fight. It is going through these corners like it is a knife through butter. Even if it does look like butter, but it's over the curb. A little bit of a bounce for the Macca. We will update you on what has happened in the back in a moment, as it's going to be a move down the inside, round the outside. Now onto the main straight, and it is going to be a Lexus versus a Lexus. Which Lexus driver will come out on top? It's Diego Donate versus Blanchet. It's a Bentley, I should say, and my apologies. As you head down the main straight now, it is going to be a complete and utter mayhem. Michael Menning, Omar Escorcia, off the track goes Michael, and Rados is going to look to come through as they go 3 abreast, little bit argy-bargy, right on the wheel of it, 3 wide, and they are right up against each other. We headed down into the chicane, Philip. This is going to heat up.
The stones on these boys, 3 wide down there into the turn 5, 6, 7 complex. Michael Menning getting the better of the situation. Rados demoted down to 6th behind Asorcia. Dornell's the big story though. On this first lap, he's already pulled a 0.7 of a second gap over Jacob Palmieri in the Mercedes, who we saw going a little bit wide that first time through turn 8. Keeping it together, keeping it alive. Kevin Blanchette, he had that trouble on the exit of turn 1, had to go wide, lost a couple positions, back up into 4th place. Side by side though, into turn 8, Jeff Spangler in that Lexus ahead of Anton Rushevich. Everybody keeping it nice and respectful. We did have that early drama with the number 444 car, who appears to have already left the server. Our fan favorite D2 driver Arced in the pits and perhaps not moving, but we'll keep an eye out for him. Donate and Blanchette though, that battle still as hot as ever. The Bentley looking hungry.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be hungry and it's going to fight through. It's going to put all those Boatley claims down and it's going to fight through it. Ilpo, we got the Bentley charging here, but have you spotted anything in the back? Because there was a big collision on lap number 1, it seemed, with those yellow flags flying.
There were actually multiple incidents. I have not checked exactly what was the first one, but there was also an incident coming to the back straight, which is kind of surprising because it is a straight after all. Nobody luckily had a massive accident there, but there were multiple people losing a lot of positions who will be very hungry to get those back.
Yeah, I mean,
Arc is finally moving. He was stationary in the pit for a very long time.
So possibly fixing damage there for Arced if he was caught up in one of those lap 1 collisions. A little bit further forward, it looks like Durance is going to look for a move on Klaus onto the back straight, going to hop in that toe. And it's a long straight line speed is going to come into an aspect. The Lamborghini can be a little bit more front end heavy, but of course ballast applied to put these cars equal as possible. Ford Mustang, of course, having the horsepower cut. Also in the rear wing, you see Durance here as we ride on board with Sanchez, and it's now up against them. Franco Sanchez gonna have to be careful. He's got a Macca on the inside. The Macca will look for it down the inside. He will hold it there. Good cut off by the Beamer, and it is now onto this complex into the final few corners, and it is going to become a whole lot more interesting in this third sector. Grandstand's not so full, but it's full on Twitch and YouTube as we now head into the as we head down in the upside down mustache. Yellow flags have flown. That is for the 544. 545, I think, actually, or the 544. It may be Crown, and you know, it's a different car. Hard to tell from my screen, but maybe Philip can keep us updated on that one. They are now second to last So something's happened back there, but wheel to wheel, side by side. That was going to be Kraus. We'll get back to the action as he has gone round. Was it contact with somebody? Because it seems very weird because cars can usually hold it through their Oppo.
Yeah.
Well, so that's the exit of turn 8, the fast and deadly one. Kraus in a new car, this Mercedes. I'm not going to say he lost it by himself, but I don't see any other way you end up on that part of the track.
Yeah, it's the AMG is really tricky at high-speed corners, so it is quite possible he lost it on his own. Taking a quick look at some statistics, the biggest gainer so far is Williams, who is 8 positions up from where he started, and not counting the people who are completely out. The biggest loser is Simons, who is 14 positions down.
So good race for some, unlucky for others. We're not even 10 minutes into this race, but the action is already getting more crazy. Of course, it has been Domels who is still holding onto that position in the top, but Jacob Palmieri, he is there. He is fastest on the circuit at the moment as well. Fastest lap to his name. So he is going. So he wants that 1 extra point, and he wants to get that pole position as well. That's how you kick off a season in style, getting a win. But right now, also got to keep an eye on it. Now a second behind as yellow flags for number 54, I believe.
Is that 50?
64.
64. Who is car number 64? Oh, that was Mr. Moffat. We can try to do a quick rewind. Oh, a little side-by-side action with the Porsche. 2 did not go into 1 in that case. The Porsche surviving with just a little bit of side damage, but Mr. Moffat, definitely the big loser in that engagement.
Yeah, I mean, you were talking about it the lap before, turn number 8. It can be absolutely lethal sometimes, and seemingly that is what happened. We're watching Omar Escorcia now as he is the fastest man on the circuit, currently sat in P number 6 overall. Michael Menning just in front of him, then it's Donate and Blanchet. So that is going to be the fight, which may be evolving soon as we approach the 10-minute in mark. Of course, it's a 20-minute qualifying followed by a 1-hour race. It's the season opener. This is where it counts. Onto the back straight. Going to be holding on to that speed, trying to close in as quickly as possible to get as much as you need. Close in thicker and faster. Try and get him that slipstream, but it seems like Michael Menning's setup is doing him justice, but the Lexus is going to try to fight back. It does close in ever so slightly. Each rev that you hear, it revs to the max, and you're fighting 6th or possibly 7th. I don't know, I never drive a Lexus, but someone might, as you now head through the right-hander, try and keep within the track limits, but the Lexus seemingly unable to get past the Macca, but it is closing in. But now you've also got to be, if you're Donate, you've got to be looking in your rear view mirror, because Michael Menning, Omar Escorcia, Rados Spangler and Rushovic, as well as Wilson, are coming thick and fast.
Super impressive there from Menning, running apparently a very low downforce setup. He had no slipstream to the car ahead. Escorcia with the slipstream being 0.7 seconds behind at the start of that straight, but you saw it from the bonnet cam, not a whole lot of ground gained in the slipstream on that long straight. Menning must be running a super slippery setup right now.
The old McLaren is known for very high top speed at low wing setups. It's just absolutely terrible to drive with a setup like that.
Well, if there's anybody on the grid who can handle it, Michael Menning, that's the man.
Yeah, well, Blanchet there going through turn number 1. Big rear end slip there. That's going to give Donate a good opportunity. Right on the back of him, as in the very simplistic but lovely carbon and green. It is, well, carbon and mint, I should say. But he's going to be fighting through. But this is the key factor here, which I would like to point out. There is no one big gap here on this circuit. If you look at the minimap, everybody's in the, most of the grid, I should say, is in the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and on the back straight. So you make one mistake, like luckily enough, it seems like Blanchet got away with that one, but you go off track and you spin, you are going to lose practically every single position, and you will be right to the back.
side by side now. We've got Gomer Wilson being overtaken by Mercer at the end of that long straight. The 488 Ferrari, just with enough legs to not even have to fight too hard into the braking zone. That's Mr. Jeremy Mercer up into P10.
Yeah, as yellow flags were flying at the back momentarily, we may be able to get a visual on it. It was between the final 4 cars, so possibly a moment there coming through turn number 6. It seemed more like turn number 7 though, possibly closing in a bit too much, and it may have been 5k so, but unless we've gone a slight bit too early, but unfortunately it just seems like 5k so got away with that one scot-free. So something happened at the back, but we couldn't get a visual on it, unfortunately. So it is an interesting one when it comes down to this one. But Ilpo, right now we got Rados chasing down Omar Escorcia. Of course, we saw Omar Escorcia last season, and do correct me if I'm wrong, but he's been driving the Ferrari a lot in the past. So even if he did drive a Lexus last season, going into this season, if he was driving it, what's the difference and how is that going to affect the driving style?
Between the Lexus and the Ferrari, I don't know if you can find 2 cars that are more different. The Ferrari is a car with all the downforce and sophisticated TC that actually works. The Lexus is just all brute power. So yeah, you need to take a little bit of a different approach to corners. Surprisingly, on this track, the Ferrari actually has pretty decent top speed. It just takes a while to wind up and potentially needs a tow, but it does actually go quite fast when it gets going.
Yeah, well, you may be fast, but you got to be even more careful. Omar Escorcia right now is going to be going through. You also got Andrew Rados, who's right there with him, wheel to wheel, side by side, very wide through turn number 8, and that is out the track limits without a doubt. A warning at least, as that was a big contact between Andrew Rados and Jeff Spangler in the background. One of them did go off, so that was a big old little tap. Luckily enough, it seems like they both got going, as down the inside, Jeff Spangler's going to be right there, done and dusted, trying to fight it. Now he's up against them, trying one more time, fighting with all his might, trying to get through these corners, and it is going to be the complete complex. These two are battling. It is Jeff Spangler and Anton Rushovic, but you've also got to be careful because you've got 4 other cars sat astern who possibly at one slight mistake can be smelling it in the water and trying to make their way through, as Rushovic is going to be up there with him. Jeff Spangler wheel to wheel, side by side, down into turn number 1, wheel to wheel, Lexus versus Lexus, and it is all done and dusted. Ferrari of Jeremy Mercer is going to be hunting in the back, hops in the slipstream, but the Lexus straight line speed comes into play, and now the TSC car, the number 37, is going to be looking to make his way through as we are almost at that quarter-way mark. Ladies and gentlemen, if I do say so myself, this round 1 of season 15 has been absolutely flying by.
Checking back in at the front, we got Renato Dornelles has pulled a bit of a gap now, 1.2 seconds to Jacob Palmieri in that Netflix and chill Mercedes. Kevin Planchette still right in the hunt, well in the slipstream of the Mercedes, which was another one I thought was going to be down on top end speed, but he's defending, at least for now, quite well against this Lexus onslaught.
Yeah, well, this is my question here for these drivers. Is majority of the grid running a low wing setup? I know it's Paul Ricard, so most of them most likely will, but how is that going to convert to rest of the season? Because with so many Lexuses on the grid, you can only imagine to compete with them, you're gonna have to say goodbye to downforce, and straight line speed is going to be key. Of course, you've got other circuits coming up, but when you look at the calendar, you've got Nürburgring, you've got Donington, you've got Paul Ricard tonight, you've got Imola as the season finale is down the inside. Lexus versus Lexus once again. These Lexuses are going to be so dominant this season, and you've got to wonder how are the other cars going to be competing against them. Hops into the slipstream, does Jeremy Mercer for Ferrari as Ilpo, as you were saying, that Ferrari takes a while to get up to speed, but seemingly here looks for the outside line, not that time either.
Yeah, so on the tracks and the cars, I would say about half the calendar is pretty good for the Lexus. This is probably the best track. But the other half, like Laguna and even Donington is kind of difficult track for the Lexus.
Yeah, you've got Laguna, you've got Hungaroring.
Yes. Laguna, Hungaroring, Donington. There's plenty of tracks here that are not exactly great for the Lexus, so I think it's going to be very interesting to see how the balance swings.
Yeah, most definitely. As down the back straight, here we go. It is going to become an interesting one. Danny Durant's also trying to close in. We haven't seen him a lot this race. We've only seen him once before, but he is still chasing down. Klaus, who's been in front of him. We are past the 1/4 mark, going towards the half, and this McLaren, it is closing in on the Lamborghini, but as a former Lambo driver, that front end can be very snappy and it can help you through these corners. You see it just through there. Gonna do exactly what you want through turn number 8. As long as you've got the setup correct, that's very, very wide for Kelvin Lau, as well as I believe may have been Anton Rushovic as well. So 2 Lexuses going wide. Little tap there with Roy Key, and it's all over the place. So what happened there? Did they come together? That is an interesting opportunity that's just happened there. Jeremy Mercer, seemingly in plenty of positions, according to the thing. He keeps on flip-flopping, but I'm pretty sure we see him in one solid position right now.
Yeah, so well spotted. That was Rushovic and I believe Kelvin Lau going a little bit wide there in turn 9. Jeremy Mercer and Gomer Wilson taking advantage, getting a couple overtakes done, but Kelvin Lau coming down into turn 1, trying to get that position back. Not quite enough of an overlap, but it is all kicking off here. Anton Rushovic now the one under threat from the 488 Ferrari of Mercer.
And we have a bunch of early pit stops.
Yeah, so that is our P2 in the race. Jacob Palmieri going for a 42-minute remaining super early undercut. Gonna have to keep a track on that as the race plays out. Also got Roy Key, Danny Durant's in that beautiful looking kind of Joker colors McLaren. Gonna have to keep track on them. And will Renato Dornelles respond, or will he just keep this train rolling?
Well, we'll wait and see, as I'm just going to go through chat real quick, as of course we've got plenty of people in over on YouTube. We've got Mason Moffat, of course we've got Bois, we've got Sean Paul, and then Ryan Smith as well. Over on Twitch, of course, we've got Irish Mesme. We've also got Language, I believe. We've got Muff as well in there. We've also got, I can never tell who that is. I know that is not Selena, but I think that's, is it me or is Arjun in chat? And he says he can finally watch D1 because he's not commentating. But right now, Porsche are going to look for it around the outside because it's out there on circuit, Arjun, if I'm getting Twitch names correctly. They can be a little confusing sometimes, but right now we've still got the Porsche, and in fact that is not Arjun, that is Butkus, as it is going to be going 2 wide, 3 a triangle, maybe 4 a square. That Porsche is soaring through this grid right now, as Butkus, we saw how quick he was in qualifying, so maybe a little bit disappointing in the race, but I would not say so. Gomer Wilson in the nerfed Ford Mustang, to put into perspective, and of course it got horsepower taken out of it into this season because it was so overpowered last. So just to put it on level playing field, the ballast wasn't enough. So I think that's very nice from the organisers of this race.
Yeah, some would argue it was well needed. Others would argue that perhaps it would have been better directed in other directions. I mean, the Lexus is OP. I said it first. Anyone who says otherwise just doesn't know it or is a skibbity toilet Delulu.
Yeah, I mean, either way, you have to work about it. So it does come down, as you see, Franco Sanchez right now on the back straight, going to be making his way through, looking for the toe on the Porsche, but the Porsche is still going in its mega defense mode, and it is holding on to it, big part because of the pit. It is Domels who leads, Blanchett P2, but it's 1.8 between them. Very close with Donati and Menning though. They're on the back of Blanchett. Down the inside, Mr. Sir is going to look for the move here. Man has been in this division since I started here in Season 11, and he is not giving it up yet. He's still fighting his way through. in that retro Williams livery sat on his Ferrari. The 612 fighting through, as it is now going to be up against Gomo Wilson as he's still on the back. Speaking of a retro Williams, there is a retro McLaren, and it is Mr. Sir who's in the retro McLaren, I should say. It is Laz who's in the Ferrari.
Beautiful. You love the old school McLaren Marlboro liveries. Not sure we're allowed to show that on stream. We don't do tobacco advertising here, but yeah, that Williams, as I believe that was Gomer Wilson entering the pits as well. So lots of early pitters. Wondering if it's just kind of the wear on the tires, you know, running those low downforce, very kind of rear weight biased, stable setups. Wondering if we're getting a lot of graining on the front tires out of some of these cars.
I mean, you've got to wonder about it with the elongated final corners. It seems like we've got a... Honestly, is it just me, or are we getting a line of retro here? Because I'm looking at Laz, retro Williams. I'm looking at Sir, retro McLaren. Let's go a little bit lower and see if we can get any retro vibes from Wilson Fernandez, because it looks very silver from up top. But right now, Douglas Mitchell, of course, in the Gulf Lexus. That was a very quick turnaround, I should say. So, of course, I need to give... It is the opening round, so we are going to point this out. There is so many talented people who can make liveries in this community, because this man, Douglas Mitchell, asked for this livery on Saturday, Sunday morning if you're in Europe, and he's already got it for the race.
Yep, talented people spending countless hours. And so you did mention Wilson Fernandez, and now, so maybe not, as he goes off track there, turn 9, going to lose a position or two for that, but I'm going to call this the true, perhaps most widely known real-life racing livery. This is the classic primer gray that everybody puts on their project cars. Wilson Fernandez, I say he's doing it right.
I mean, that's just the way it starts, isn't it, Ulpo?
Yeah, or ends. Once you've broken all your parts and you only have spares.
Yeah, I mean, if you only have spares, there's nothing wrong with it. Heck, everything can come together. Like, you gotta wonder how much money is in this lobby with the rigs that many people use. As of course you've got DIY rigs, you've got people who are on controller, looking at a certain Porsche driver who is in D3 this season. I say that, but it is unfortunate as the Mel's is still leading, and I hear some noises coming from Philip Ennis Muller.
Alexa, there has been a disaster. We've got JMP Bizzle in the chat. Dare I say this is Mr. Jacob Palmieri himself, tried to go for the mega undercut and got disconnected from the server? This man was running P2 in the Mercedes, the beautiful Mercedes with the Netflix and chill livery.
It seems like Netflix did not understand the Seems like Netflix did not understand the contract, so that is very, very unfortunate for him, as there is already chat going on. I am not going to talk about Twitch chat because we are watching this man right now. It's Kevin Blanchett. He's in the Lexus. Key factor, it seems that everybody, apart from the top 15, has now come into the pit lane. So all those drivers will be classed as undercuts. But there is plenty of drivers here, 6 of which are gold. The rest are silver. And there has been no pit stops from them yet. Duhamel stays out. Blanchett decides to come into the pit lane. This is going to become a very interesting aspect here. But right now, unless something happens in his pit stop, this is Duhamel's race to lose.
So, with Palmieri out of the race, Dornell's obviously still P1, Blanchett inheriting P2, it will be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to the top driver of those who have pit. This is Michael Menning, currently sitting P16 overall, but the top driver who has completed their one mandatory pit stop for tires. Coming through this Sector 3 here, we're going to have to keep a close eye on where Mr. Kevin Blanchett and where Jeremy Mercer come out of the pits in relation to Menning. This is a battle in the pits for position.
Yeah, Michael Menning coming through the final corner. And Ilpo, this is going to be a very, very tight one, as of course
He's
coming
not
on the main straight now, and it is Kevin Blanchett who
Where's
is
Menning?
on the roll. And where is Menning?
There's Menning.
Wait for him. There is Menning. There's the yellow warning, and the McLaren, which looks like a KTM from afar, is going to get the jump on him. Ilpo, that is what it comes down to when it gets to pit stops. That is a mega undercut there by Michael.
Yeah, that's fresh tires, clean air, just running your best lap times. Now he has to be able to hold that position to the end of the race. That will be the hard part.
So Blanchett coming out of the pits, his tires will still be cold under huge pressure from Dinarte, who had pit earlier, done a bit of an undercut himself. I think by this point, Blanchett, having survived Sector 1, might be safe. But huge, losing that position to Menning. Dornell's our race leader, now also in the pit.
So Dornell's into the pit lane, that is the key factor. Jeff Spangler was 12 seconds behind, he now comes into the pits. Next up will be Klaus, he also comes in. I think they see the leader come in and they're like, now is the time to pit. 32 minutes remain in this race as the timer ticks down. The halfway mark, you can expect it. Michael Menning now in sector number 3, heading out of turn number 9 into turn number 10 into the upside down mustache. Burke does not pit. He takes the lead of this Paul Ricard race, as well as Austin Carpenter. We're also going to have Simmons and Anderson. Are they going to pit? Simmons stays out on the circuit. What about Anderson? Looks like he is also going to stay out, but he is very, very far behind. No, in fact, he comes into the pit lane. Dumels is going to be on the roll as here comes Michael Menning. It's going to be an extremely tight one. You look for the yellow. You look for the flash onto the main
Here
straight.
he comes.
And it's right on the limit. Here comes Michael Menning.
Whoa.
And it's going to be Michael Menning with the undercut to take the lead of the season 15 opening round. But here is the key factor. You can tell by the way the cars look. We've got a battle between McLaren eras here, as Michael Menning of course he is in the old McLaren. He's in the McLaren 720S. However, Dumel's in the McLaren 720 Evo. So this is going to be a fight for the ages, a difference between drivers, a difference between strategies, a difference between eras. It is Michael Menning, the renowned favourite, the one who is known, Dumel's the up-and-comer, looking to fight back. The 300 versus the 18 as yellow flags fly in turn number 5. But now it is going to be the interesting part. Evo versus non-Evo. Klaus goes very wide, and it now comes down to these two. We look at Klaus, who is going through here. Was there contact, or was it a spin on his own?
Oh.
Big rear end squiggle, big spin. Contact with, I believe that's a Ford Mustang, and luckily enough, keeping it out the barriers. If that was grass, I would say he'll be in it, as that's going to be down the inside, looking for that overtake. That is 2 cars up ahead, locked in that fight. That is Jazz and Nixon, I do believe. Or is it gonna be? It is gonna. Is it me? That is an Audi in the fight. That is Timothy Flamger. So now Nixon also there. Jazz and Flamger also got. But now this is another key thing here, gentlemen. We'll go to you first here, Ilpo, to get your opinion, because it is going to be plenty of cars coming through. We've got the retro McLaren in front, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 astern.
Yeah, this is a place where even just attacking someone is risky, because if you attack someone and it doesn't work, you might lose multiple positions immediately.
Yeah, as speaking of losing positions, Dinarte versus Blanchett, I believe, and that is going to be, in fact, Dinarte's up even more, and now he's down in P number 6. Everything's being a bit timey-wimey,
Well,
but Dinarte is being awkward. Ilpo, you've got the live timings rather than ACC's awkward ones, so we'll let you take us through this one.
well, so this was a battle for that final podium position. This was Dinarte putting a little bit of a hip check on Blanchett coming through Sector 1 there, getting the move done. It does show Kevin Blanchett P5, or P6, depending on where you look, but that's because we've got Burke and Simons who have not yet pit. So Menning will be the overall leader of the race, followed by Dornelles, Denarte, and Blanchette now in P4 after that little bit of contact we saw there earlier on.
Yeah, that was set up by Blanchette making a slight mistake in turn 1 and having a pretty big slide there, which allowed Denarte to get the run. I will point out that Manning has the fastest lap of the race by quite some margin. Over 2/10. That's quite impressive in the old car.
So his last lap, a 153.092, and this lap looking to be even faster as he crosses the line, resetting the purple with a 152.942.
Yeah, I mean, the fastest lap out there. It's no surprise for Michael Menning, but the up-and-comers are coming through. Jeremy Mercer, also a known favourite and a retro and an OG. Now looking for it. Dan Cran is also going to be there, and it now fights through. Jeremy Mercer is fighting his way. Also going to have the Ford Mustang just in front. Dan Cran, everybody's favourite admin, in the number 16, making his way through the left-hander now. Also going to have the Ferrari right there with him, already showing if this was last season, that Ford Mustang would most likely be off, mega in the distance. But it is now nerfed and it is put on a level playing. It now comes down to, it's not the car, it's the pilot. You go from missiles, you switch to skill, and you go now through onto the back straight. Going to be hopping into the slipstream, and it is onto this line. Going to hold onto it. Going to hold where you can. Punch a hole in the air. Close in as much as possible. That Ferrari is now going to come up against him. You said he's in trouble. Elpo, over to you.
Yeah, Cran is in trouble. That Ferrari is fast enough with the tow to fully pull alongside.
Yeah.
Now let's see if the switchback works. No, and the move is done.
Fully alongside, and Dan Cran just kind of letting it happen. Didn't even try to take a defensive line there going into turn 8.
I don't think he realistically could. The overlap was too much. Like, trying to defend that would have just made him vulnerable to lose even more positions. So I think this is
well, speaking of losing more positions, Jeff Spangler now right up on the back of that Mustang, trying to make it a couple more positions lost with his teammate Kelvin Lau close behind.
So now that Cran is even more trouble if he cannot pull away before the straight, because these two Lexus are gonna hit him.
Oh, the poor Mustang.
I mean, what did I expect? It was so overpowered, it got told off, and now it's on level playing field. Through this turn number 1 and 2 complex, basically an elongated chicane. We are now over the halfway mark, and it comes down to this. Everybody's made their pit stop, apart from Aidan Burke. He is yet to pit. We're 17 laps deep. Michael Menning seemingly starting to catch up to him as well. Dornelles has Denarte, Blanchette and Rados all in the stern, so it comes down to them as well. That fight for the podium is going to be on the table. As I'm going to go to chat here because Logan goes racing. We can't ignore this one. Mustang is getting a taste of what it did to everyone else last season. So maybe, just maybe, as it is going to be the Lexus of Jeff Spangler. This is what happened last season with a Ford Mustang to any other cars. Now it's happening right back at him. It's going to be a camo monster livery, but Jeff Spangler's going to fight his way through, going down and through into turn number 8. The move looks done early, but the Ford fights back. It wants another bite of the cherry. Very wide through turn number 9, but the Lexus has done him through. The Ford Mustang's going to have to fight back, but it's down another position, and it is not going to be there for him either. It is getting even more interesting, but Aidan Burke comes into the pit lane, Philip.
Which will now give Michael Menning, as he crosses the start-finish line, the proper official lead of this race. He has pulled a very respectable gap. Already now 2.5 seconds to P2, Renato Dornelles in the 720 Evo, who is still under a bit of pressure. We got Denarte, within a second of Dornell's, and Blanchette not giving up just yet, still within a half a second of Denarte. This battle for the final podium position, looking to go deep into this race here. Blanchette in that beautiful grass green Lexus, not going down without a fight.
Also an absolutely ridiculous train behind Mr. Sir fighting for P16.
Fighting for P16 as we check it out. So we've got Mr. Sir, John Laz, Eric Marecki, Timothy Flamger in that yellow Audi, the other 488 Ferrari of Nixon, then Williams in a Bentley, the other Mustang, Gomer Wilson is in the mix, and then Fernandez in the gray McLaren, all just bunched up together, coming onto this long back straight. 23 minutes left in this race.
Yeah, well, the yellow warning is there for him. You've got Marecki, and you've also got Flamger in the bright yellow cars. You cannot miss them. And now onto the back straight as well. And of course, the disconnects happened earlier, and that is going to be an interesting one. Down here we go. It's going to be the retro fight. It is going to be Laz versus Marecki down into the right-hander, wheel to wheel, side by side, retro fight, Maka versus Ferrari, and it is done and dusted. That is going to be up against them, and it is now through as well. Going to have Gomer Wilson very, very wide. Fernandez follows through, and it is a fight for the ages that we are watching. Correction, it wasn't Laz and Marecki. It was actually Laz and Sir, but Sir is now back ahead. So this honestly, I'm going to be honest, these two liveries are definitely my favourites so far this season, as that is a yellow flag in the middle. So that's something that's happened in the background, but it is now going to come onto the main straight. That is going to be Joel Klaus. Once again, we do get a replay here. Is it going to be a tap, or is it going to be on his own? He got spun earlier on at turn number 7. Does he lose it on his own here? Big snap, tries to correct it into the rubbered up part of the circuit, which is made to destroy your tyres. Not like it relates to ACC, but that is going to be extremely unfortunate for him. A bad day in the office for him. So now these drivers are going to be hoping that that does not happen to them in this train. It's Mr. Sir followed by John Laz. It's then Eric Marecki, Timothy Flamger, Nixon, Williams, Fernandez, and then Wilson, and then O'Brien is slowly catching up to this train. He gained a second last lap. All aboard the Mr. Sir Express.
Jordan Nixon right up behind Timothy Flamger, pulling out to the side early on with that big overspeed on that poor Audi. Doesn't stand a chance before they even get 2/3 of the way down the straight. Jordan Nixon just says, thank you very much, I'll take that P19. Oh, going wide up ahead, that's John Laz, who attempted again to go side by side with Mr. Sir, coming off a little bit worse for it, under pressure now from Eric Marecki behind.
Yeah, you can only imagine.
We have a drive-through for track limits for Burke.
The first one of the day, Aiden Burke in that Nissan. Very, very dangerous on that turn 9 curb. Overtaken by, our buddy Arjun. Arjun Lakshmi Narasimhan.
Oh, Flamger spun.
Oh no, not
Flamger is spun.
Not my.
Where is that?
Not my Audi, friend. Let's see if we can get a replay. We've got a Bentley on the inside, doing well to keep it tight side by side, but coming off the curb, little argy bargy, and
Does it?
yeah.
Moved down the in. Yeah, that is. You can go for a move down there, but I think Flamger was already turning in. He was entitled to. We'll have to leave that one of the stewards. We're gonna stay. No, we're gonna stay neutral here. But that was an unfortunate one for him. That's putting him into the grips of Fire Queso. Which, honestly, I am very confused. I am surprised we've never seen Fire Queso do a fire livery before. It would be fitting.
You'd think it would be low-hanging fruit there. A little bit of cheesy queso.
Yeah. Honestly, livery idea for Fire Queso, maybe implemented later in the season or something, if it's allowed. do what Jenson Button did with his Honda. Have it so there's a little outline of the person, but instead of the outline of a person, make the person fire. Speaking of fire, here comes Fire Queso. He is on fire, and he is going to fly past Timothy Flamger. He is done. That Audi is not having fun on this back straight.
Yeah, shame. Timothy Flamger. Hey, there's still the rest of the season. We do have here at SRA, of the 8 races, your one worst point scoring finish does get dropped from your overall. We call it a drop race here. So Tim Flamger, you know, round 1, Paul Ricard, we'll call it a drop race and we'll get on with business next week out.
Yeah, it's just one of those ways that it does work about it. Here comes, of course, Blanco Sanchez. Going to be down the main straight as well. Also going to have Butkus behind Durance and Kay in front. The question is, how far is Michael Menning into the lead now? Because we haven't seen him for a little bit. So it is going to be interesting. 3.2 seconds. Michael Menning is out there at the moment. He is holding on to it. It is a McLaren 2. And then it's Alexis a Bentley, Alexis a Ferrari, Alexis, a Ford, Alexis, then a Macca.
So while we were watching that, yeah, sorry.
Philip, I think it's a perfect time to use that one word we're allowed to use. I'll hand it to you.
I would never disparage the beautiful Lexus. It is a gorgeous car. And it's doing well here. So while we were watching that chaos in the midfield, Kevin Blanchette, we missed the action, but he was able to retake P3 from Thiago Denarte, who is perhaps struggling, has dropped 2 seconds to P2 and under pressure now from Andrew Rados in yet another frickin' Lexus.
Yeah, Lexus versus Lexus. It seems to be the theme of tonight inside the top 10. There's so many on the grid. And I think, chat, mate, the Lexus is the new Ford Mustang from what we're gathering over there. We're going to stay neutral here in the commentary box because we are nice and professional.
Yes.
But Andrew Rados is now going to be coming down the main straight. Still trying to close in. No move being made at the moment right now. I am wondering, though, is Blanchette going to be able to close in here because he is less than a second behind Dummel, Zilpo?
I mean, it's hard to predict. They have pitted roughly the same time, so they have roughly the same tires. I think both of the cars are kind of rough on tires, so I don't really know how that's going to play out. It's going to come down to the drivers.
Yeah, most definitely. We are approaching the 3/4 mark down the back straight. If you are watching on Twitch, you can subscribe with Prime to avoid any adverts. You get 1 free subscription per month with it. And of course, if you're watching on YouTube, your subscription is free and you get no adverts anyway. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications to get notified every single time we go live. And here comes Andrew Rados live in the fight. Going to be looking for it down the inside. Done, dusted. Denarte had no idea what was coming at him. And that is straight line speed at its finest. And I do not think that is going to be much fighting back from Denarte. That is going to be unfortunate for him. Here comes Butkus on the back of Durance. Down into the corner. Porsche looked to the inside. Unfortunately, it didn't look into him that time. And it didn't work either. You've also got Coy, who is in the fight. He's trying to defend here as we are 30 seconds from 3/4. And it is now also the Porsche. It's a 4-car train here. It's a free astern led by Kay. And it is a lovely little fight here. It's a checkerboard of silver and gold, and it's what you like to see here. Of course, later on in the season, there will be a correction. Of course, results will be taken into account, and everybody may be moved classification. So you may see a few gold drivers become silver, and a few silver drivers become gold. But either way, that is no doubt to the skill, because it is overall points for position, not per category, but per overall. Down into turn number 1 now. This is going to become even more of a fight, as right now this seems to be the main battle that is heading out on the circuit. And if you look at the mini-map, this is at the back end of that front half of the grid.
And so, as you've said, we do have two different divisions here, gold and silver. Admins do reserve the right to make adjustments to those divisions before race 3 or after race 3 of this season. But for now, at least, the reason I'm highlighting this battle is we've got Mr. Roy Key here in the 888 Lexus, our top silver contender of this race, followed closely behind Danny Durance and Eurontus Butkus, our second highest silver driver. So even though Durance not necessarily involved in this battle between Key and Butkus, on track, everybody's on track at the same time. We're fighting for the same points. Butkus would really like to get around Durance. The past 2 times on this straight we've seen that I feel like that Porsche should have the advantage over the McLaren on top speed, as Roy Key struggling to pull it into the exit of turn 9. But because of the slipstream, Butkus was unable to do it. Durance got held up, though, by Roy Key going through turn 9. And hey, Butkus, free position. Now he's free to fight against Roy Key for that overall silver win.
Yeah, so the fight for silver now comes into effect. It is going to be these two. Marecki and Williams are so far behind. It seems like they've got their podium set down the inside. Looks Butkus. Not going to work out there either. The Lexus gives the space. Wheel to wheel, side by side into the final quarter. But the Lexus, as soon as it gets on the straight, this straight line speed begins to come into play. The power, the revs, the power and all. It comes down to it. Durance and Sanchez as well, actually. Almost for a square. Going to have 2 abreast on each. But it's not there that time either. The Lexus is known around here. And it is unfortunate for him. Roy Key is going to hold on to it. The 888 having a lovely time there in that position. It's just a little bit unfortunate that there's no custom livery there, as that is the default in-game livery. Maybe one of our lovely livery makers could let us know and see if we could get a livery for Roy Key, as of course it is the livery theme this season is real life racing. That's why you've seen a few retro liveries out there. That's why you see the primer and then on to the back straight, and it is going to be an interesting one. Blanchett in P number 2 as we wait for the replay to come across on that as this battle continues here on the back straight. Blanchett did get overtaken there. We did not catch it on the screen. What track is this? This is the circuit Paul Ricard, aka what many call the parking lot, because it's basically a parking lot because there's so much business, because there is so much tarmac. There is, unfortunately, we could not go back far enough, but I think we can know the assumption here. It was either the Lexus on the back straight or down the inside at turn number 9. So it's seemingly just a nice simple overtake there by Blanchett, who now gets up into P number 2. So the pole sitter now back where he was earlier on. Michael Menning in the lead by 4 seconds so far.
Yeah, Dornell's he waited to do his pit stop. He did not pit nearly as early as our race leader, Michael Menning, but still appears to be struggling a bit. Similarly, Roy Key, struggling hard on tires, has now lost that overall silver lead to Butkus. A couple times there I saw Roy Key, he was really struggling to get the power down, was saved by the top end of the Lexus, but it did not last any longer. Now under huge pressure from Franco Sanchez, potentially going to lose 13th place. Oh, Sanchez thought better of that dive. He can maybe get him on this straight here.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see as we now go on through turn number 6 into turn number 7. Gonna hold on to this one here. Sanchez versus Key. Ilpo, let's get your opinion, because we've got a trusty beamer on the screen.
Likely that Sanchez has any chance here, as we can see the Lexus is just flying away. Yeah, that's kind of the story. On the statistics, Key pitted significantly earlier than Butkus, so it's not very surprising he's maybe struggling a little bit on the tires. The Lexus is pretty rough on tires, and this track doesn't make it any easier.
Yep, a bit wide there at the exit of turn 9. Perhaps a speed coupon used. Roy Key under huge pressure here. This sector 3 is where I would expect the BMW to excel over the Lexus.
Yeah, well, as we'd expect, the downforce coming into play with an advantage. We'll have to wait and see how that will play out between them. It does come down to it at the end of the day as they now hold on to this one. We're in the final 10 minutes here. This race has absolutely flown by you, no matter where it is. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you may be watching us from. Welcome to the Sim Racing Alliance. There you go, Selena. There you go, Selena. You've got your line for next season. As is going to be the males right now, who's going to continue to hold on to it. I thought I'll get it. I thought I'll get it the way nice and early. As right now, it is going to be going through turn number 6 and turn number 7 onto the back straight one more time. But you know how this Lexus gets. The revs build, the fire builds, the spluttering out the exhaust builds, and the McLaren seemingly not having any luck. 4.3 now, practically 4.4 for Michael Menning in the lead. They are 26 laps deep at this moment in time. They are holding onto it like a knife in butter, and I have to say they are doing an extremely good job here. Of course, we've still got another 8 minutes left here, Ilpo and Philip. We'll go to you first, Philip, then you can hand it to Ilpo. From what we're seeing tonight, who is your driver of the day so far?
I have to give the strategy win to Michael Menning. The huge risk, the huge undercut, still 8 minutes left in this race, so there is still an opportunity. Maybe his tires just light themselves on fire at the end of the race. But that notwithstanding, Michael Menning, the strategy victor in my eyes, mega undercut, taking that overall race win. Lead. No jinx.
Yeah, and Ilpo, you've been watching the screens, you've been watching the stance, you've been watching it a little bit further back from what we're understanding. So let's get your perspective from a bit more across the entire grid. Who's your driver of the day so far? Excluding Michael Menning, considering Philip's already said that. As we see here, Anton Rushovic is going for the move on Omar S. Garcia, and he's got it done.
So I would have obviously said Manning because the undercut was inspired. Like there's no other way around it. But so outside of him, I would probably say Butkus, who is 6 positions up from where he started, and now the highest silver driver. That is actually quite impressive. He's managed to keep it clean. He's fought through the field. Got a few freebies, but hey, that's racing. Just a very strong drive so far.
Yeah, and right now we are watching a little bit of a fight. Oh, tap on the rear for the other Audi. And around goes Amaka as well in that carbon fibre livery. So their livery has not been uploaded. We have no visual on who those actually are. So we'll wait and see, as that was one of them was John Moffat. The other one would have been Austin Carpenter. Personally, for me, if I'm looking at it, I am gonna say I don't know who to say. I'm just going to stay neutral. But if you, in the chat, do have a favourite driver who you want to choose, I'm going to go with Omar S. Garcia, because why not? If you do have a favourite driver, you can join the SRA Fantasy League. Of course, you can choose your drivers, and they race on the circuit. As long as, if you win that, you get the lovely opportunity to do a, correct me if I'm wrong, a Bredy on the next season reveal stream. So that'll be for season number 16. So get involved, try and win. I'm pretty sure we need somebody to dethrone the current champion. So it is going to be an interesting one. I have got confirmation it's a Bredy. So join the SRA Fantasy. If you know football fantasy, that's what it is. But it is for SRA. And it's a great way to get involved with the community. As, of course, unfortunately, if you had Arct in your fantasy, it's a bad day in the office because Arct is disconnected.
Yep, so of course it must be said that is Iris in the chat who made the bread for Anton Rushovic's recent Bredy, his fantasy victory celebration ceremony. Got another yellow flag on track. This is Aiden Burke having a little bit of a rough time out on the outside of turn 8. I don't know if that was encouraged by another driver or if just coming through turn 8 here, a little inside on the curb, tried to pull it back to keep the lap valid, but ended up shooting himself in the foot and putting himself in the wall.
And then sick Paul Ricard and ACC doing Paul Ricard ACC things and making the car go rainbow. But in the final five.
Further down
go ahead,
the field,
Oppo.
Laz did finally get past Mr. Sir and has managed to slowly pull away. Marecki, Nixon, and Fernandez are still stuck behind Mr. Sir and are trying to make something happen, but it just doesn't seem to be working that way.
Yeah, so it does come down to that at the end of the day, making the way through the right-hander, and it now comes down to fifth. 4 minutes remaining on the clock, and I do believe, Ilpo, I'll hand it back to you actually, as you will probably have the fact. What is the lap times that is being set by the leader of Michael Menning right now?
Still running in 53s, just barely. The whole top four are all running below a 54.0.
Yeah, so that is the lap times that we are setting. So we are on the lap before penultimate now. So we are heading towards the end. This is where it's going to count. It is Demels. He is caught up onto the back of Blanchett. So now it's Blanchett who's going to have to defend. Of course, the straight line speed is going to be key with the Lexus. Sector 1 and Sector 2 and Sector 3 is where the McLaren is going to try thrive. Has to hop in the slipstream down here, Philip. We're heading into these final laps. This is now or never for the 300.
Yeah, if I'm Dornells, I'm happy to just sit right here in the slipstream. I'm 0.4 seconds behind. I'm not gaining anything, but it's putting me in a position where maybe later on, Sector 3, I can put a little bit of pressure on Blanchett. You're on older tires. Maybe you're more likely to make a mistake and give Renato this P2 back that he sorely desires.
Yeah, as you actually see that, Blanchett going very, very different line. Domel's opting for the tighter through sector number 3 now. Under the mustache section, as I'm going to call it, this entirety of the week. As of course it is going, we got more action racing coming tomorrow. D2, D4, and D6. We'll talk about more of that at the end of the stream. It is Demels right now chasing down Blanchett. Also further back, you got Sir Marecki, Nixon, Fernandez, and Williams, as well as Wilson and Peter O'Brien. They're all locked in that fight. That's going to be an interesting one on the final lap. So this is a fight that is evolving even more. And is it me? But that is going to be Laz, who has actually got away. So the retro McLaren now behind the retro Williams. Is this the 1990s?
I was more of a McLaren guy myself, so I certainly hope not. Another close battle on track. This is P6, 7, and 8. We've got Rushevich from Escorcia. Jeremy Mercer now right up behind this pair of Lexi. Going through Sector 1 here. Side by side, the move around the outside on Escorcia. Almost making it happen. He's going to be disadvantaged for this right side hairpin. Doesn't get the move done, but Jeremy Mercer, you love to see this much aggression with 2 laps left in this race.
Yeah, 2 laps left, less than a minute now remain. Well, 1 minute now remains for the first round here in SRA season number 15. It is a sub 2 minute lap time, just under. So the question is, how much time is going to remain on the clock when the leader of Michael Menning comes to the line? Jeremy Mercer right now, P number 8, trying to close in on Omar Escorcia, looking for the outside line here. Unfortunate, unable to get it. Omar Escorcia on the back of Anton Rushevic. Ilpo, we're in these dying stages of the race. 2 Lexi versus 1 Jeremy Mercer. It is in a Ferrari, and that is going to be an interesting one. That totally wasn't a blooper.
So Michael Menning here.
Place for Mercer.
Sorry, just crossing the line here 10 seconds ago. So we will have 1 more race lap here for this battle to play out.
Final lap. Give it a final push.
Also, if I'm Anton here, I'm just very happy that the cars behind are fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Because it means that he has less pressure.
Yep,
Well, that is the pressure, and it now comes down to it. Philip, we know how this goes, and it is Michael Menning on this lead lap, on the final lap. The white flag flies here at the circuit, Paul Ricard, for the first time in season number 15. He's coming onto the back straight. Michael Menning, we are deep and we're going into the dying stages.
1 lap remaining here. Battles on track everywhere. Blanchette on Dornelles for P2 and P3. Rushevich, Escorcia, and Mercer. Kelvin Lau mixing it up. P10, love to see that. Jeff Spangler and Kelvin Lau rounding out the top 10. That battle in the midfield, though. Marecki from Nixon from Fernandez. Mr. Sir in the McLaren livery. This one is going to go down to the wire.
Yeah, down to the wire it now comes down. Mr. Sir with Laz behind into this wiggly bit section. Leader of Michael Menning into sector number 3 now. We'll get visual on him through the final corner. And without a doubt, but Mr. Sir down this back straight. Nixon also there. Fernandez looking for the back. Fernandez very, very wide. As actually, no, that was Nixon. Areki, sir? It is going to be Nixon who goes very, very wide. Camera's playing tricks, but the leader of Michael Menning is now going to come into the final few corners. We kick this off season with a strong, and it's a big, strong race lead. A known name, but back on the top. Doesn't need Evo, just needs a McLaren. Michael Menning wins the season opener of season 15, and it is in strong style, as Demels is going to lose out here, but strong showing. Blanchette P2. We now head back to that battle further down. It is going to be up against them, wheel to wheel, locked in a fight. Who's going to win this line? It's Mercer, it's Oscar, it's Omar Escorcia, Anton Rushovic P6, Omar Escorcia P7, Mercer P8, Spangler P9, Kelvin Lau, P number 10, Dan Cran, everybody's favourite admin, Ford's been nerfed, he's in a P11, Butkus P number 12, Sanchez will be looking for it, he comes on P number 13, followed by Durance, Key, and then Marecki and Nixon. They're all coming across the stern. Little bit of a fight further back as well. There is somebody going to jump up. It looks like they're all going to say there. Guy Manperson is also apparently down there, as we didn't really see Guy Manperson that much that race. But now through the final corner as well, Max Simmons, big factor, has a drive-through penalty. That is going to drop him all the way down to P number 38, possibly P number 39. Very unfortunate for him. Anderson right now coming through these final few corners, and that is that. And it is going to be an interesting one, because Michael Menning wins in gold. It's then P number 2, as then it is going to be Anderson who now comes to the line. Donovan Colton and Anderson. Burke's coming round, but we'll have a look at the leaders so we can get the results here. That is one heck of a race. Michael Menning, followed by Blanchette, followed by Demels, and then it is Butkus as well. That is how you take a racing style. What did we think of that, Ilpo? And of course, Philip Ennis-Muller.
I mean, a banger of a race. D1 delivers once again.
All your thoughts, Ilpo?
So, I mean, Philip. The other one. No, I mean, super tight action all the way up and down the grid. It was so much I almost feel bad for missing half of it. But hopefully we put on a good show for you guys. I just can't wait for round 2. I'm talking about it already. We haven't even done interviews yet.
Well, speaking of interviews, when my Discord eventually wants to load, we can get straight to it if we do need. As, of course, looking at it, we will have Melling, Blanchette, Demels, and Butkus eventually. It doesn't matter if they are in there. We will be taking them up into this thing. And you know what? Let's go from silver to gold. We've got Joris Butkus, who I say might, will be joining us as Joris Butkus. You are live on Sim Racing Alliance YouTube and Twitch for the first ever time. Welcome in, Philip. You're back in the box this season. I'll let you take this one.
So, Mr. Butkus, in the Porsche of all cars with a super strong silver finish, we were noticing your top end in that car. I believe we clocked you at 286 kilometers per hour on that long straight. Tell me about the setup you were running today.
Yeah, so before the race, I was like, I'm gonna click the wing one down, because I think Lexus was right in front of me, another silver guy. So I was like, that's my really only chance to get him on the straight, and it actually worked out. So yeah, just lower wing and kind of pray I don't eye. So
it was a well-executed strategy. It worked out for you. It seemed like, so talking about the silver battle, it seemed like your closest competitor there, Roy Key, struggling a bit for grip in the end. Did it look like, I mean, pit strategy-wise, were your tires a little fresher than his?
Yeah, I think so. So I think I pitted a little bit later than most people, and I was trying to purposely be very gentle on my tires, which worked out towards the end because their pace dropped, and I was able to, when I got into slipstream, it was pretty easy from there on.
Ilpo, what did you see of the silver race?
I mean, I'm mostly just kind of surprised that seeing the Porsches do so well. How did, like, what was that car choice always locked in, or did you?
I've been ran the last NASCAR season in Porsche, and the main complaint of the Porsche, that people have is the tire usage. But I just compared my tires versus my teammates Joel Klaus and Arjun, and the tires were still great. So I don't know. I guess I just learned how to manage my tires a little bit better. And so if the temperatures are not too high, then the car is pretty good.
That's good work.
Thank you.
And of course, coming up next week, it is going to be an interesting one. Going over across, well, not that far, just up to the northeast. You're going to the Nürburgring, not the full Nordschleife. Unfortunate for us Nords fans. But it's the Nürburgring GP circuit. How is that going to work out for you? Of course, a lot more Porsche orientated with the Mercedes Arena, Coca-Cola Curve, well, whatever the right hander is. I think it's Coca-Cola, unless somebody may correct me. And then, of course, you've got Schumacher S, Dunlop. So what's the plan looking like going into Nürburgring? Because it's not a night, it's going to be a nice dry one like today. So what's the plan going in there?
I don't know. I think I'm hoping for a good result as well. It's really hard to tell because everyone's fast, and it's just simply a matter of simply not dying in the race. Again, I'm hoping for a good result. I don't like parts of the track there, like the chicane kind of scares me. But yeah, I'll do my best.
Well, we will hope you do. Before we let you go, is there anybody you would like to give a thanks to?
Yeah, my two main teammates that I always practice with, Michael Landry and Joel Klaus. We try to push each other every week, so it's been nice.
Well, fair enough. Thank you for joining us for the interview. We shall let you go down to your D1 post-race talk. Congratulations on the silver win tonight, and pop open the champagne.
Thank you very much, will do.
All right, we'll drag you back down.
Now,
he's out. So,
yep, and Philip, let's have a look at this.
What do you got?
I think we should go. I think we should just continue with this back to top. So if we can find him, let's bring in P number 3. That is going to be Dormel's. So let's see. Can we find him?
So unfortunately, I see neither Renato Dornelles or Kevin Blanchette in the D1 race review chat. Perhaps
then we shall
unavailable for a review. And Michael Menning, do we just jump straight to the race winner?
If we have nobody else, let's get to it.
Second. Boom.
Michael Menning, you are live on the Sim Racing Alliance YouTube and Twitch. Once again, another win to your name. Talk us through that, qualifying the race. What's it been like out there with a not-so-modern McLaren?
It was pretty exciting. It's quite different from the usual. Last time I drove a mid-engine car would have been Honda about a year and a half ago. So pretty interesting dynamic. Good top end though, so good competitor at Paul Ricard. I was having issues joining the lobby before qualifying, and so I only made it into the lobby around 6 minutes left, so only had time for 2 flyers, and It was good enough for where I needed to be. Start of the race was scary, but got through that, and then I knew I needed to do something. I knew I had more pace than the people had. There's just no passing up Bentley or Alexis, so pulled out the undercut, and the pace was there. So pretty solid. I'm really happy with how the pace was and how the car felt. It's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun time.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, some people may have looked at it like, oh, it's an older car, it may not work out, but you put it right to the test. Was there any reasoning thinking of using the older McLaren rather than the Evo going into this round and into this season?
Just trying something new. We want to keep mixing up the grid, keeping it fun. But I've driven it in one event before, and honestly, I had a good time. I really don't know how to describe it. Like, if you keep it planted, it goes well. It's an interesting car. It's an interesting car. As soon as you make a mistake, as soon as you lose that rear grip, you just kind of slide through the corner. It becomes really frustrating. But avoiding that is really rewarding, and it definitely felt good here. So, and a lot of Lexuses, so getting something with somewhat of competitive top speed feels pretty good. So I'm not sure how much that'll translate to other tracks, but feels good here at least.
Yeah, fair enough. And Philip and then Ilpo, I shall let you ask a question to our race winner.
Well, so looking ahead on the schedule, obviously next week is the Nürburgring, Barcelona, Donington, Hungary. We were talking earlier about how this top speed track, great for the Lexus. Some of the twisty ones, like Laguna Seca and Hungary, maybe not so good for the Lexus. Are you expecting that same difficulty with the McLaren, or do you feel like you have a grip on this car and you can make it work anywhere?
I'm pretty confident it should work at most places. I had to run. It wasn't super low wing, but it was low enough that it induced that kind of like half slide through each corner a little bit more than I'd like. So I'm sure every track I should be able to do a full wing. Not sure going ahead. I have no idea what the rake will be. But I'm assuming it'll get rid of those like kind of sketchier moments, and that'll increase the confidence in the car a lot. I know Lexus' weakness is rain though, and I think the McLaren will be having a similar issue because the brakes are just miserable in this car. So Laguna Seca might be interesting because the car might just not stop. So we'll see. And I don't think this car is very good over curbs, which leans a little well to this calendar. Donington won't be fun.
Yeah, Hungary, you've got the weird chicane.
Yeah. So we'll see. Lots of ifs. I think Nürburgring should be solid for the car, though. I think it might be a little weird in the first sector, but I think once you get to the mid-speed corners, I think it'll be solid there.
Nice.
And Ilpo, do you have a question?
Well, so are we gonna be seeing more early pit stop shenanigans for the rest of the season, or what's the plan?
I mean, that's always the way to do overtakes, right? So, I honestly really did not want to, because, I mean, again, I drive front engine stuff, so I'm very used to the fronts being the issue of tire wear, not the rears. So when the rears start falling off on this car, it becomes real tricky. So it definitely, this played out pretty well because I was able to push for like 5 laps, and then I had a gap, so I really didn't need to like really send the car through any of the fast stuff. So the tires held on pretty well. But if it became into a situation where I needed to push that entire end of that race, that 40 minutes, that would start becoming a little rough. So, but again, I think that'll be definitely helped by the wing towards these slower tracks. I think it'll really help the tire wear, and the tire wear felt great compared to the other cars on the grid. I know my pace was good, but compared to like Dornell's, Blanchette, it felt really solid. So Definitely, if I'm stuck behind people, undercut is definitely the option for anyone doing SRA. Undercut, always a good thing.
And of course, before we let you go, Michael, back on top, before is there anybody you'd like to give a thanks to?
Obvious thanks to Jason Allen, doing a great job as always. Mr. Sir for letting us drive this car, because he's liking it, but it's taking a little adapting. And yeah, that's all.
Well, fair enough then. We shall let you go. We shall see you next week at the Nürburgring over in Germany. Pop open the champagne. Have a good night.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And here we go then. That is at Philip and Ilpo. That was one heck of a season opener. Before we round out here, do any of you two have any thoughts on what we saw tonight and what we can see next week?
It's
yeah, go ahead.
D1 always delivers crazy banger races, so I'm expecting more of the same.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. I think this is a sign of things to come. I think we're going to have tight grids all season long, tight battles all season long, and we're going to have a lot of that beloved Lexus all season long.
Yeah, most definitely. That is how we're going to look at it. But of course, the racing action this week is not done yet. Of course, Paul Ricard is still on this week, and it is coming your way. On Twitch and YouTube, it's Division 2. That will be myself and Adam Santana and Henry Ramirez. And of course, over on YouTube is D4 and D6. D4 brought to you by Anton Roshovic, Donovan Colton and Marlon Abubo. Division 6 being brought to you by the returning Loic Normandor, and then Selena Boonstra, and then Sig, and then a newcomer of Sig as well. We have got plenty of racing action to come up. Your calendar after tonight looks like this. For the rest of the season, we have the Nürburgring coming up next week. Then it is going to be the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya as a night race. Then it is variable weather. Rain will be there. It's just a matter of how heavy. It's Donington Park. It's the centre of Britain. It is the airport. And then it's Hungaroring for round number 5. Monaco without the walls, some may say. Then it's over to the States, the roller coaster. It is Laguna Seca, and then across and to the south, it's Kyalami, a fan favourite. It's our home. It is round number 7 of the season. The season finale will be brought at the fast, the vicious, the chaotic, the Circuit Internazionale Dino e Monza, and it is that for the season. Ladies and gentlemen, myself, Ilpo, and Philip will be back next week. It is gonna be on a Wednesday in Europe. It's 2 a.m. British Standard Time, or if you're over in the States, it's Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. 9 p.m. Eastern, and then whatever that converts to Pacific.
6 p.m. Pacific.
6 p.m. Pacific. Yeah, we told it. Add that to the bloopers, Jess. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Alexa Marshall with Ilpo Rutsalainen and Philip Ennis-Muller. Good night.